When it comes to big screen flicks, there's nothing more interesting than those roles that turn an unknown actor into a shooting star.
Star Wars made him a superstar.
This man was meant to be a star.
Yeah. We are talking about life-changing, charisma-generating, award-winning roles that every actor wants.
He was born to play that role.
Friends turned her into a global superstar.
So get ready for an hour of diamond-searching, pure star-making roles as we highlight 25 of the most amazing star-making roles in Hollywood. This is Ultimate Countdown, Star-Making Roles. He was born and raised in Philadelphia when a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in his neighborhood. Needless to say, he moved to Bel-Air, and the guy who plays him got really famous.
He's unstoppable from the 90s on.
If he hadn't done this sitcom, we would never even know who Will Smith was.
Kicking off this week's countdown at number 25, it's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, who turned Will Smith into royalty.
It's actually physically impossible to have existed in the 90s and not know the theme song to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Now this is a story all about how, see how ghetto I think I am? I'm basically Will Smith. My life got flipped, turned upside down, and wherever you want me to start. I can start in the middle, I can say it backwards.
Will Smith, before Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he was a rapper. He and his hometown buddy, DJ Jazzy Jeff, they were rappers. They had some successful songs. He had a song called Parents Just Don't Understand, which became a huge hit in the 80s.
Take it from me, parents just don't understand.
And people loved Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince, right? But you didn't know that Will Smith could be an actor, you know?
And that he was that funny.
He was that funny.
Prince of Bel-Air is funny.
Yes.
You know, and everybody's funny in it. We get the Carlton from that.
Yes.
You know, but the fact that he would go from sort of pop, hip-hop, rap to a sitcom with no problem.
Yes.
What really made his career, I think, was the creation of the theme song. The amount of, like, twee acoustic hipster covers I have of the theme song to The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is both staggering and embarrassing.
Do, 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 do.
Sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel-Air.
Will Smith had to run away from some tough guys in Philadelphia, but this warrant officer had to run away from an alien in space.
This one? Not
Yeah,
this one.
no.
When it's at this stage. Before
Yes,
it's at this.
right.
Running in at number 24, it's Lieutenant Ellen Ripley in Alien, the role that made Sigourney Weaver a household name.
Sigourney Weaver is a beautiful woman with perhaps the most gorgeous bone structure in the history of Hollywood actresses. So here she was, this beautiful woman with gorgeous hair stuck on a spaceship, and we fell in love with her.
Sigourney Weaver is amazing in Alien because she's a very real woman. She's not like, she doesn't have makeup on. She's not like, you know, she doesn't have herself put together. She's like kind of like an engineer. She's a worker, but she's so brilliant because the crew members get picked off one by one until she's the last one standing.
It's not one of those movies where you know who's gonna be alive at the end, right? Because she wasn't a star. This is her breakout role.
Right.
In fact, the person you think is gonna be alive, the bigger star, he dies first.
Yes,
right
yes,
away.
yes,
you know?
yes.
So literally, her character, she's like, this is one of the rare characters in adventure and sort of action films where it's a woman.
Yes.
And she saves everyone. She tries to save everyone, and she is only really able to save herself, but she makes the hard choices.
Yes.
And she's like, we're blowing up the ship.
Yeah.
We're gonna get in the life pod, and we're blowing up the ship.
Yes,
That's what we're
yes.
gonna do.
If I was a woman, I would love it if my star-making role was in like a kick-ass sci-fi film. Because you can't really picture Sigourney Weaver in like something about Mary. Like she's not that kind of like female actress, you know. Although she would make a great prostitute if you wanted to put Sigourney Weaver in Pretty Woman instead of Julia Roberts. But I feel like a kicking alien ass is where I always want to see a Sigourney Weaver.
If Sigourney Weaver had already landed some minor roles before Alien, our next entry had already faced the Empire of the Sun before he became an American psycho.
This is a serial killer.
He's crazy.
And he's brilliant.
Chainsawing its way to number 23, it's Patrick Bateman, the character that turned Christian Bale from a child actor into a star.
Christian Bale was warned by many in his camp that taking this role of a serial killer would totally kill his career. I mean, this was the kid from Newsies and Empire of the Sun, but that's what made Christian want to do it, and he was right, it totally made him a star.
Christian Bale is an absolutely brilliant actor, and I think he really embodies this sort of like, you know, this character that exemplifies American greed. You know, this character is the original Wolf of Wall Street.
So the scene that you know Christian Bale is a star in is the scene where he brings in his nemesis, right?
The guy who he keeps sort of getting mixed up with in his circle of friends.
Yes.
Right? Like people keep not knowing which one of them is which.
And it's driving him insane, right?
Because he wants to stand out.
Yes. He has this immaculate apartment. But this time you notice when he brings the guy home, there's newspaper and plastic.
There's just plastic all over everything.
Yes.
And then he's getting like a shower cap on, and he's putting on protective gear while dancing and singing to Huey Lewis in the news.
And he grabs an axe as he's chatting with the guy, and the guy is so full of himself that he doesn't realize he's about to get whacked.
I can't imagine anybody else playing the main character in American Psycho. Christian Bale was so good, so, like, he's such a good-looking guy, but he just had this intensity in his eyes that was so creepy and so frightening. And there's so many classic scenes in this movie that just, like, when I shudder thinking about. Such a crazy movie.
Just a lot of sweat.
At number 22, Ann Porter, the cute LA girl from the movie Speed that turned Sandra Bullock into a star, back in the day when cute girls in LA still ride the bus.
What's great about Sandra Bullock in Speed is she's so game. Like, she'll drive the bus, she'll do whatever. And then I love that shot at the end where she turns around and she's got the bomb strapped to her stomach. Most actresses would not do that scene because it's not a slimming look. But Sandy's like, I'm in, count me in, I'll do it. I don't care.
What really made her a star with that film is that she's, you know, very relatable, very average, and yet she does something so brave by the end. So I think that women really identified and were like, wow, that could be me. Like, maybe I could save, you know, a bus full of people. Like, maybe I could do that. So I think that's what really catapulted her.
Sandra had this really interesting look. She didn't look like every other actress in Hollywood at the time. She wasn't va-va-voom. She was kind of a little bit of a girl next door vibe, and it just really worked for this, and it turned her into a huge movie star.
Sandra Bullock drove the F out of that bus, and she actually learned to do it. She took special classes to do it, and she passed the test on the first attempt. So if this Hollywood thing doesn't work out for her, she's got something to fall back on.
I'm a good bus driver.
Next up is a role that not only defined an actor, it defined an era. In at number 21, Benjamin Braddock, the main character of Mike Nichols' film, The Graduate. Benjamin was 21 years old in the movie, but was played by a 30-year-old taxi driver from New York called Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman was actually, I believe, in his mid-30s when he filmed The Graduate, but he's such an incredible actor that he really nails the innocence of Ben so perfectly.
Nobody but Mike Nichols thought Dustin Hoffman was a movie star. Even Dustin Hoffman, when he got the part, he was like, wait, am I being punked here? I'm not Robert Redford, I don't look like those guys. And in fact, Life magazine visited the set of the movie, and they wrote that if Dustin Hoffman's face were his fortune, he'd be committed to a life of poverty. They actually wrote that. And they also described him as a swarthy Pinocchio. Well, guess who's still around? Dustin Hoffman. And guess who's not? Life magazine. Karma's a bitch.
It's cool because I feel like a lot of guys can relate, and probably girls too. Growing into your own is really awkward. Don't know which direction you should go in, and you don't know. Some people say like, don't follow your heart, you know, go to school and do what you want for yourself. And then other people are like, oh, if you meet the right person, you know, you should. So there's all this confusion about what you should or should not do, and it was a beautiful portrayal of that.
That combination of good looks and charmingness, and also embodying where America was in the 1960s, made Dustin Hoffman a star that we could all fall in love with.
If Dustin Hoffman had to wait till his 30s to become famous, our next entry waited until he was 45 to play the Bible-loving hitman Jules Winfield in the 1994 masterpiece, Pulp Fiction.
Samuel L. Jackson from Hollywood.
At number 20, how Samuel L. Jackson would never be anonymous again.
He's a total bad guy, but you want him to win. And when he starts that Bible passage, you know in that second you're watching a star. He delivers that with such conviction and energy. You're like, oh, man.
And all I think, you are so gonna die. A person he's saying that to, you are so gonna die.
You're so gonna die. Oh, every time he says it.
It's the perfect meeting of a fast-talking, intelligent actor and a fast-talking, intelligent, violent character, and America fell in love with him. He was the danger and the violence in a very violent, exciting movie, Pulp Fiction.
He can play like a really bad guy and you're like, oh, this guy is creeping me out. Or he can play like, you know, like a Morgan Freeman type, like wholesome. So I think it kind of showed his versatility in that way and how he could play a really bad guy.
And he plays that character so succinctly and tight because he's got one mission, and that is to get that case to his boss, and he's going to deliver it. And it doesn't matter what happens on his day, how many things go wrong, they end up shooting somebody in the back seat.
It was an accident.
It was an
They hit a
accident.
bump.
Yes, but he takes care of that and still manages. And I still want to know what's in that case.
I know, right? It's in the Pulp Fiction case.
Nowadays, he is known for being a bit mad, but in his early days, Mel Gibson was only known as Mad Max, the character he played from the Australian franchise of the same name.
This man was meant to be a star.
Yeah.
At number 19, how Mad Mel became famous.
Mel Gibson became a star in Mad Max by opening his eyes. The thing that jumps out of you off of the screen are these gorgeous, giant blue eyes. Now, this cowboy likes the cowgirls, but I'm here to tell you, Mel Gibson as a young man was a beautiful, beautiful man.
He made so much noise in Australia that we heard it in the United States.
And that's like a 24-hour flight.
Yes.
Mel Gibson was super famous in Australia, and Mad Max was a huge movie down there. And so Hollywood said, instead of showing them this one, which is actually pretty dark, they made the second Mad Max and showed it to Americans, and they were like, we want more Mel Gibson, that was amazing. And so they re-released the original Mad Max in America, and he was a superstar instantly, globally. All of a sudden, we needed all Mel Gibson in all of our action movies.
What I love about Mad Max is that really when you go from Mad Max to Lethal Weapon, all he had to do was drop his accent.
Yes.
Same haircut.
Same
craziness. Same, I'm crazy. It's not post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
But he's insane in both of them with horrible hair.
In at number 18, Matt Damon, the man who was still at Harvard when he wrote Good Will Hunting.
He just was a regular guy who wrote a great movie and got lucky.
By the time he played Will Hunting, he already knew he was going to be a star.
Matt Damon is actually a genius. He doesn't just play a genius, he's a genius because he wrote that role for himself. So he essentially made himself a movie star.
He and Ben Affleck wrote the movie, and they also really knew how to handle the PR involved in this movie. So for example, when they were nominated for an Oscar, for an Academy Award for screenwriting, as dates, they didn't bring some young starlet actresses, they each brought their moms. What a spectacular idea.
In Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon plays a janitor who is secretly brilliant, and he's very adorable looking in the movie, and I think he would actually get fired for that if it were a real high school.
When you write a role for yourself, I feel like you always make it so it shows your best, you know, your best foot, you can put your best foot forward.
They were like the Cinderellas of the late 90s with this movie, this little independent movie that it turned both of them into these incredible household names, movie stars, and Matt was so smart. He made so many smart choices. He never took a movie that was a dud. He always took the right type of roles.
In the 1960s, Jack Nicholson was already an accomplished screenwriter, but all that changed when he got offered the role of George Hansen in the film Easy Rider.
Sometimes becoming a star means you've got to be in the right place at the right time.
At number 17, Jack Nicholson, going from behind the camera to in front of the camera.
Jack Nicholson in Easy Rider was the perfect marriage of the right actor, the right project, and the right time in history. It was the 70s, and anything goes, and he sort of had that free, live and let live, love whoever you want kind of vibe, that very Nicholson thing that he's carried on through this day.
Originally, the role was written and cast to be played by Rip Torn, But Rip got into a big argument with the makers of the movie, and he left, and he said, I won't be in this movie. And Jack Nicholson, who was a friend of the people making the movie and had been doing some odd jobs around the set, took the opportunity and ran with the role and was nominated for an Academy Award.
One of the funniest and best taking a swig of some booze moments ever in film. So they're out on the street and Jack Nicholson takes a big swig and then literally does this. He's like, like this like Marx Brothers kind of You're just like, who is this man? This is incredible. Because when he does it, you believe him and it works. It's like, yeah, I believe this character.
Yes. Jack Nicholson is so present as that character, and he is, and what you are aware of is that he's improvising, he's making things up, and he's taking you on a journey. And not only is he taking you on a journey, he's pulling you. His performance just grabs you, and you go with him.
If I was to make a word cloud for Jack Nicholson as a human being, Easy and Writer would just kind of come together. So I feel like it's really fitting that that was the movie that made his career.
Sometimes the best roles don't come up out of a director's first choice. It's all about the casting.
Star Wars made him a superstar.
At number 16, when Harrison Ford lands the role of Han Solo in Star Wars.
Han Solo, he's the pilot of the Millennium Falcon, and that is so hot.
Han Solo wearing his vest, shooting first in a gunfight, flying the Millennium Falcon with his, instead of a faithful dog sidekick, he had Chewbacca as a sidekick. But it was the perfect role for this roguish, ruggedly good-looking guy.
I think Han Solo really was the time that we as a nation said, wait, Harrison Ford, I want to be you or with you.
Yes.
One of them.
Yes.
I mean, Han Solo is this great character, right? He's the reluctant hero. Mm-hmm. He's out for himself. He's the bad boy that Princess Leia shouldn't like, but she does.
Mm-hmm. It would be really easy to mess that character up and be like a dorky adventurer, but somehow he pulls it off and he makes it really sexy. He's one step ahead of you, always.
Star-making role, absolutely, because here's the deal. Everybody, if you ask them who they want to be in Star Wars, everybody wants to be Han Solo.
I couldn't imagine not having a huge career after being that kind of character, played by that kind of actor, in that kind of movie. It was just like this trifecta of like, you're about to be a huge star.
People used to think Cameron Diaz was just a cute model. That is before she landed the role of Mary Jensen in the hilarious comedy There's Something About Mary, laughing its way to number 15. It's Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz broke out in the movie There's Something About Mary. She was like a comet across the sky.
You really buy that Cameron Diaz is the type of girl that guys would just be like throwing themselves at, like constantly.
Cameron Diaz is beautiful, and every male character in this movie refers to her as a fox at least once. But she's also got that goofy side and that funny laugh that makes her really relatable. You know, she seems like a girl that if she farted in the limo, she would own it. She was like, that was me, sorry everybody.
Cameron Diaz is so much more of an actor than I think people give her credit for, because, I mean, she was hilarious in Something About Mary, and it made her career as being like young, sexy, blonde, boop, 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 you know, kind of girl. But actually, if you ever see her like Vanilla Sky, for example, where she just plays like bat out of hell crazy chick, she's really, really good in it, and she's really good at playing these like kind of deranged or like oddball characters. But unfortunately, I feel like Cameron Diaz, you know, is always remembered for what made her famous, which is Something About Mary, which is just like, I'm a hot blonde.
Our next transformative role proves that great actors must persevere.
When he settles a score, oh, it is settled. Forever.
When Al Pacino was cast as Michael Corleone in the 1972 film The Godfather, he was very close to being fired at multiple times. But he persevered, became a star, and that is why Al Pacino is our number 14.
I think it made him into a star because it was an amazing movie, and he did a great job filling the shoes of that role. It was a very difficult role to fill because he had to kind of go from being a dork, you know, and being rejected from his family into all of a sudden filling these like mobster shoes.
Without Al Pacino, The Godfather just would have been a movie that never frickin' ends. And I mean that with love, because it's one of those brilliant films where you're watching it and you're just like, God, this is so good. And I feel like Al Pacino truly is like the most Italian person that ever walked the face of the earth. So only he could really have sold that role as well.
I love his transition from, you know, the young Michael, this wide-eyed Michael, who's going to become a senator, who goes into the military and does all
everything
these things,
right.
does everything
He's staying
right.
out of the family business.
Yes. And then you see him have to get involved in the family business.
And not just get involved, but actually be really good at it.
Yes.
America fell in love with Al Pacino because they could relate to him in the middle of this grisly, violent movie as a normal person being pulled into this world. And it made Al Pacino an awesome star and one of America's great actors.
In the 1950s, no leading man was hotter than James Dean, but he couldn't have become a legend if it wasn't for our number 13.
He was born to play that role.
Rebelling its way into our countdown, it's James Dean's portrayal of the young Jim Stark in Rebel Without a Cause.
James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause was a new kind of leading man. He was sensitive and vulnerable, and you just wanted to hug him and tell him that everything was gonna be okay.
You see James Dean come across your screen. I don't care if you're a man, woman, or child, you fall in love with him.
James Dean manages to make middle-class angst seem powerful and heart-wrenching. And you just want to play chicken with him.
Yes.
Like I see why you're playing chicken with that Cliff. That makes sense. You're James Dean.
Something crazy about James Dean is that he was only working in Hollywood for 5 years. That's all the time that we had with James Dean. But the mark that he left on the industry was huge, and it's still we feel the shockwaves of it today. Because in James Dean's roles, he wasn't just this super hot guy who would throw on a motorcycle jacket and be kind of sullen. He was a lot more than that. He had a lot of emotions, and that really came out in Rebel Without a Cause.
The trailer for this movie has the most corny line in it. Its performances will throb deep in your heart. That sounds a little dirty, doesn't it? And maybe it should, because we all know that there's nothing sexier than a damaged guy with great hair.
While every role in this countdown is amazing, this next one also kicks butt.
This is just Indiana Jones in a girl package, okay?
So what's wrong with that?
Well, make up your own idea.
At number 12, it's Angelina Jolie as Lara Croft in Tomb Raider.
Lara Croft was a really super popular video game character who had really captured the imagination of a whole bunch of gamers, like all over the world. She was super popular, and everything hung in the balance of who they cast in that role.
When Angelina Jolie really brought that character to life, she exploded, you know?
Angelina Jolie is probably the only actress who actually is more attractive than any anime character you could make.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The reality is that she's actually better looking.
I always thought Angelina Jolie became a star when she told everyone she was like wearing a blood vial around her neck. I feel like that's when all the attention was brought to her. And she was dating Billy Bob Thornton. So then Tomb Raiders was just a movie.
I feel like after Girl Interrupted, it was like she had an Oscar, she was a big name all over the world, but I feel like Angelina Jolie and her people were like, not enough teenage boys are masturbating to me on a daily basis. Let's have her play Lara Croft. And then that kind of just like, brought up her cachet. Because it doesn't count unless everyone's Googling what do your boobs look like. You're not really a star until like that moment, you know.
Up next, how an Aussie actor got the role of Wolverine in X-Men and became an American icon.
I'm a little annoyed because in every Wolverine movie that comes out, he's in better shape than he was in the previous one. How is this possible?
At number 11, it's Hugh Jackman.
Fun fact, Hugh Jackman's wife originally told him not to do X-Men because when he was first considering, they offered him the part, she said no because it'll probably be a flop. Superhero movies are not going to be a thing now, and she told him that he should probably turn it down, and that tickles me because all I can think is, Like what a horrible, never-ending fight. Like what could possibly drive a wedge in a marriage more than I gave up being Wolverine because you told me it was a bad idea. I mean, that's like the ultimate poor investment choice if you had listened to her.
A sexy wolf guy who with these knives that come out of his hands and he's slicing everything, but then he like can reel it in and contain it, but then there's like this anger, and I think the women think that's really sexy. So it definitely brought out, if anything, it was a very sexy role for him to play.
The reason that he continues to be so great in that same role is because he finds out ways to up the ante. And he has made a superhero character actually have levels of depth, which is really unique. And nobody else has ever really done it. Hugh Jackman's been doing it for ages.
While Hugh had the muscles to play Wolverine, our next entry had other physical attributes to land her life-changing role.
I don't want to say it was like the leg spreading that like made her career.
At number 10, Sharon Stone as Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct.
Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, she was like in her mid-30s when she shot that, and so I think that she brings a real maturity to sort of her sexuality. She's like very settled in herself and her body, and that's very attractive.
She had just come off doing a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger called Total Recall. Paul Verhoeven saw her and thought she would be perfect for the movie. She had just done Playboy after she was out promoting Total Recall. So she won this role, and it completely transformed her life. And probably, the movie was great, but what everybody will always remember about Basic Instinct is the classic scene. She uncrosses her leg, and the camera zooms up, and you see all her lady bits, and you know, any reference to Sharon Stone from that point out was about that scene in the movie.
There are not many women who could have played a serial killer taking on an entire room filled with policemen. And then Sharon Stone happened. And she managed to command every space that she was in.
I remember I was writing for Movie Line magazine in the early 90s, and they put Sharon Stone on the cover for this movie. And when the magazine came out, the movie hadn't come out yet, and everyone was like, who's Sharon Stone? Because she'd done a few things. And then after the movie came out, that issue started selling like hotcakes because she was an overnight sensation.
Sometimes a movie version of a play can be even better than the play itself.
It's a masterclass in acting.
That's what happened to A Streetcar Named Desire and the actor who played its now famous leading role of Stanley Kowalski.
Like, he inspired so many different kinds of acting to become popular in Hollywood.
At number 9, it's the role that turned Marlon Brando into a legend.
When you say A Streetcar Named Desire, you are talking about Marlon Brando. And like the first time where everybody went, yes, okay?
That's like his Brad Pitt and Thelma and Louise moment.
Yes.
Because he's so sexy and raw.
Yes.
That you're like, wait, maybe I do like theater.
Yeah.
I mean, Marlon Brando is a brilliant actor, and he also happens to be gorgeous. So you put those two things together, and you've got this sort of like raw, masculine, like smoldering, like he's almost like an animal in that film.
The way that Brando acts is like an explosion in the sky. And it was impossible to forget him. It was impossible to compare him to anybody. And that was the first moment when Hollywood went, oh, maybe we could do something a little different.
He had this real great mix of like James Dean vulnerability with like this like Arnold Schwarzenegger type of masculinity, and it really came across in this like heartbreaking, like almost Lenny from A Mice and Men. Like you kind of picture him petting a rabbit too hard, but still being super hot. Man, young Marlon Brando.
Brando was part of a new generation of actors, but Jennifer Aniston didn't need a generation to help her because she had her friends.
Friends turned her into a global superstar.
In at number 8, Rachel Green, the character from the sitcom Friends that turned Jennifer Aniston and her haircut into fashion icons.
I mean, they all became infamous from Friends, the whole cast. This show, I almost sometimes wonder if Friends is more infamous than Jennifer Aniston, because I feel like it's such, I mean, talk about franchises, it's like a great franchise. It's huge. Everybody always talks about that classic show Friends, and like I'll be hanging out with my friends and we'll do something where like, this is like an episode of Friends. And then we try to figure out who's who.
Friends begins with her losing love. She shows up in her wedding dress and she's run away from her wedding. She's run away from Barry. She's missed her chance at, you know, the house in the suburbs and the wonderful marriage. So you're rooting for her to find love, and then she finds it with Ross. So America fell in love with Jennifer Aniston during those first few years of Friends, and we've loved her ever since.
She was one of the only Friends who actually turned her TV career into a very successful movie career. I know that obviously everybody who comes off a show like that, they think that they can go out and rule the world, but a lot of times, unfortunately, you get typecast, and Jennifer Aniston probably wouldn't want to admit, but marrying Brad Pitt probably helped her move out of, you know, she was a friend into a, you know, global superstar, and she's continued to have a film career to this day.
I think Jennifer Aniston is one of the most underrated actresses that we have. She can do comedy and drama, and she can find like 3 funny moments in a line where most actresses can barely find one, and Rachel was the perfect fit for her.
We don't know if it was ER that turned George Clooney into a star, or if it was George Clooney that turned ER into a successful show. But one thing is for sure, the life of the nephew of Rosemary Clooney would never be the same after he played Dr. Doug Ross.
He really was the first actor who crossed over into film that paved the way for all these people now who can cross between film and TV.
At number 7, how George Clooney went from a B-level star into an A-level star because of an MD-level show.
George Clooney on ER was McDreamy before McDreamy, and it's the perfect role for George Clooney because he just seems capable. Like a doctor, he could take care of things, he can fix things, he can make everything okay. Like right now, this chair's a little wobbly, it's making me a little nervous, and if Clooney were here, he could fix it. Tell me everything's gonna be okay.
The show became a phenomenon. They were everywhere. They were on every magazine, every newspaper, every red carpet. It took them to a new stratosphere.
George Clooney was basically born a movie star, I think. I mean, he's got this like crazy jawline, and he's got this suave charm that you don't really see in Hollywood actors anymore.
When you make him a life-saving doctor in the emergency room on one of the hottest television shows that had happened in quite a while, we were toast. People were purposely hurting themselves to end up in an ER that did not actually exist.
I need to remove your pancreas immediately. It just doesn't work, I think, when you reach that level of like George Clooney. I don't even know like what to call it except for George. Like when you reach that level of being George Clooney, you can no longer play a doctor. That's when you're starting out George Clooney. Now his George Clooney has reached maximum.
I don't know why I'm here.
It shouldn't come as a surprise this life-changing role made our countdown, since it's a textbook star role. In at number 6, a young Brad Pitt plays JD, a highway robber in Thelma and Louise. And the rest is history.
What could have been a really simplistic throwaway character ended up being really, really memorable because Brad Pitt's a great actor. So he brought so much to that role. In any other hands, it wouldn't have been memorable at all. But Brad Pitt really made us remember.
George Clooney auditioned for that role, but they decided that for raw beauty and sexuality, Brad Pitt was a better choice. And I think they went with the right person, as I'm sure most people will agree.
And there's the classic scene where all of a sudden JD takes off his shirt and we see this rippled, gorgeous guy, and that was it. That 5 seconds of video made Brad Pitt a huge star, a huge household name.
He's so charming and he's so adorable. Like, I can't imagine any woman being in that situation and not being like, yeah, you're coming into my bedroom.
He was already the kid from Risky Business, but when Tom Cruise got cast as Maverick in Tony Scott's Top Gun, he became an instant superstar.
He became a household name.
Flying its way to number 5, how a seminary student became every girl's dream.
Was there anything hotter than Tom Cruise in the 80s? Like, I'm having trouble thinking of anything. Like, even the surface of the sun was not as hot as Tom Cruise in the 80s, because he had those fantastic good looks. He was so charming. He was everything that you wanted your boyfriend, your daughter's boyfriend, your best friend to be.
Tom Cruise in Top Gun. Back before we all knew how crazy he is.
That is a perfect example of the actor being married to the character in a really sort of like seamless integration and perfect way, because Tom Cruise is playing kind of the perfect guy. He's like a fighter jet pilot, he's a rebel, he's not afraid to do like karaoke for a woman that he's just like has a crush on. He also cries when he loses his best friend.
It's rare for a movie star to be able to connect with both men and women, and he had a following of men who loved him because he was, he just seemed like the cool guy that everybody wants to be. And then he had the women followers because he was gorgeous, and women love a confident guy, and women love military men in their uniforms, and especially out of their uniforms.
How many people can say they built their career over being the secret fantasy of closeted men everywhere in the 80s? I mean, that's a pretty big deal, I think.
If you think Johnny Depp, you would probably think movie star. But Johnny started on TV with the classic Jonah Hill, rebutted with Channing Tatum.
Let me tell you something. Every young girl between the age of like 12 and 22 rushed to turn on 21 Jump Street for who? Johnny Depp.
Jumping its way to number 4, it's Johnny Depp as Officer Tom Hansen in the 1980s show 21 Jump Street.
Johnny Depp burst onto the scene in the show 21 Jump Street. He was this gorgeous, handsome guy with great hair in cutting-edge style, both in clothing and in hairstyle.
I was shocked when I found out that he was going to do a cameo in the 21 Jump Street movie, because I figured, no way, that's a time in his life that he doesn't want to look back on. But it said a lot about him, that he obviously had matured, and he realized that was the role that made him a star, and so he went back and he did the cameo, and it was hysterical. And I think the true fans of 21 Jump Street were glad that he did.
21 Jump Street could have really typecast Johnny Depp as like a pretty boy heartthrob, but he did something really smart right around this time. He went and made Cry Baby, the movie with John Waters, that outrageous director, and he told the world, I'm gonna take chances, I'm gonna play around, and he has done that ever since. And now I kind of wish he'd calm down. I just want him to play a normal person. Like a guy that has a job at Best Buy, no weird wigs or Tim Burton craziness, just like some dude with a wife, and maybe he collects old typewriters. That's the weirdest thing about him.
The reason that Johnny Depp is a star today is because of us.
Yes.
Okay, because of women watching 21 Jump Street as little girls.
Yes.
And saying to Hollywood, we will not go to your movies until you bring our Johnny Depp.
Johnny right here!
From working in a street to working the streets.
This really took her into a whole new stratosphere.
Go whoa, whoa, whoa.
Our number 3 made Julia Roberts a star and gave street prostitutes a good name, all thanks to Vivian Ward in Pretty Woman.
Everyone goes, oh my God, who is this girl? And I totally want her hair. Like, she's amazing.
Pretty Woman, and then be like, wait, it's about a prostitute, kinda awkward.
Julia Roberts and Richard Gere together were spectacular. Like, all of a sudden, you totally forgot that he has literally hired her to hang out with him. You couldn't care less. You just want to see her bathing and listening to Prince.
But I think what people mostly connected to her was the megawatt smile. I mean, she just had this incredible smile, this incredible laugh that people loved, and she was so beautiful, like porcelain skin. And you connected, not only the character, but you just connected to her as a person.
I think I can pinpoint the exact moment that the world fell in love with Julia Roberts. And it's a scene where Richard Gere is giving her this like beautiful necklace, and he actually closes the jewelry box on her hand, and that was completely improvised. She wasn't expecting it. And she just is like really surprised and like busts out laughing with her like, famous Julia Roberts like horse laugh.
It's a good star-making role for Julia Roberts because she just looks like a prostitute with a heart of gold.
You know, the role in second place has to be famous, really famous.
It's star making. I mean, when he hits that dance floor and everybody knows this.
I mean, come on.
pose.
From Brooklyn to Hollywood, with love and dance as long as you watch the hair, it's Saturday Night Fever.
He was a TV star, and then after Saturday Night Fever, he became a movie star.
Dancing its way to number 2, it's Tony Manero, the character that made John Travolta a star.
I'm gonna be a little serious here and let you know that Tony Manero is my favorite movie hero ever. I love that he's not book smart, but he's really emotionally curious and he wants more than what's around him, and that's exactly how I felt when I was growing up. I just love him. And he knows how to do his hair right. Don't touch his hair, doesn't like that.
He gave white men a dream that they could dance.
Before John Travolta, disco was something that just kind of happened. You knew a couple people that were into it. After John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, disco was the dance in America.
That look is so iconic, and what he did in that movie is so memorable. People still parody it, and they still look for that kind of energy in their movies decades later.
Come on, we
He plays the penniless artist called Jack Dawson. She plays a 17-year-old upper-class spoiled girl called Rose Bukater. Needless to say that in the end, the ship sinks and they get famous.
I'm sure watching them go at it in a car probably helped make it like such a huge star-making film for both of them.
Finishing this week's countdown at number 1, it's Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet in Titanic.
I feel like that's one of the last movies I remember where it was so like people going to see it like 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And looking back now, I didn't realize how young they were.
And obviously because of that, this made ginormous stars out of Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. You know, he has that line, "I'm the king of the world." And after this movie, he was the king of the world. Leonardo DiCaprio became one of the biggest stars on the planet, could get any movie role he wanted.
And I feel like everybody mimics that movie in a million different ways, so how could they not be infamous for that movie?
Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio were so good together that they kept being cast in things together over the years and are really good friends in real life because of it. Every movie that they're in together has that same energy that Titanic did.
This role was made for Kate Winslet. She really worked for it too. She said in many interviews that she campaigned James Cameron to get this role. She would call him every single day on the phone and tell him how much she wanted it. She sent him a rose in the mail and said, "I'm your rose." She really wanted this part.
They just seem as actors to be having such a good time.
For a long time afterwards, I was convinced that Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio were really in love. Even if it was a different kind of love, the affinity that those two shared with each other was magnetic.
They just do an incredible job in that film.